Welcome to Rocka Solutions here in Guadalajara, Mexico. Rocka Solutions is one of the biggest distributors of electronics manufacturing materials and consumables in Mexico and North America. But they're more than just a distribution company, they actually manufacture too. So let's go inside and find out what makes Rocka rock. Okay. Hi Justin, great
Trevor,
to see you.
welcome.
Yeah, so this is the headquarters for Rocka Solutions here in Guadalajara. Interesting facility. So do you want to take us a walk through and tell us about what you do here?
Yeah, come on in. Let's show you around.
Okay.
So this facility operates as our main headquarters for distribution and manufacturing with Rocka.
Okay.
So one of the really unique things that people don't quite understand yet about Rocka Solutions is not only do we distribute for some of the top brands in the industry, we're manufacturing a lot of our own products under the Rocka brand right here.
Right here, okay. And that then gets distributed to your different facilities throughout Mexico, North America, and Brazil.
Yeah, that is correct. So we're actually going to be doing some manufacturing now in Brazil just to help with some of the local taxes and tariffs. But currently the way it works is the manufactured products here will then be sent to local distribution centers to service those clients in those local markets, or sent into the United States for us to distribute throughout the US and Canada.
Right, okay. So let's start with the distribution side first. I mean, what have you got? What are the main sellers you've got on your line card?
Yeah, so the big brands that we like to talk about are obviously Indium, the solder paste. We have Zestron, Weller, Acnano on the conformal coating. We have mounts for the torque tools, and so many more, including Koki solder paste. We also have some other Kapton tape, splice tapes that we're also bringing in-house. We're a global distributor for Global Glove. So all your different glove assortments, which when you do the amount of volume that we do on a global level, it allows your customer to really take advantage of those price breaks, where it might be more advantageous to order through a Rocka Solutions as opposed to even ordering directly from the manufacturer.
That's interesting. So, I mean, you're doing a lot of distribution of pastes and materials. These things need a lot of process support. How do you support that down here in Mexico? Do you have your own lab and set up for helping customers? Yeah,
that's a great question, and that's one of the main reasons brands like Indium and Zestron like to work with Rocka Solutions. As you can see even here, we have like refrigeration. So for a company like Indium that may have a customer that needs thousands of kilos per month on local inventory, it's better for them to actually work with a company or through a distributor like Rocka, where we can store locally the amount of product they need, and then we can send it as they use it, as opposed to a company having to send thousands of pounds or kilos of product to that customer, where the customer typically can't store that much. They need an outside storage. Rocka Solutions will store it, and then as they use it or consume it, we'll send it over.
But just to be clear, that's for the storage and distribution side.
Yes.
But if they're doing any process qualification, that goes back to Indium in New York, or does it come?
Yes and no. So Rocka is very unique in that we do have our own engineers and a full technical team that can help with qualifying, and also with our lab. We have a lab back in the corner, and at some of our other facilities that we can actually do that work for them. But of course, we like to work and team up with our partners, because they're the experts. Let them do what they're good at. We very much trust our education and our knowledge, but if you have the experts, let's use them.
Right, absolutely. So I know you've got a wonderful facility here.
Thank you.
It's obviously a lot of stock that you keep here. Basically the way it works out, that the way you've numbered it, I believe, is quite important, because the PSR stands for materials that you've made yourself.
That's correct.
And the other ones are obviously third-party materials that you've brought in. Tell us a little bit about how that all works. So you've got some smaller brands as well, like Vantage and people like that, where they're actually giving you concentrate, and you're then building that up into the diluted down into the material that you actually need. How does that work? Do you go for training? You have certain standards you have to work to with these people? Yeah, well, obviously when you're dealing with chemicals, the concentration, the recipe, everything is very, very strict. It has to be perfect. You go through a lot of training and qualifying in order to accomplish that. Now, in the Mexico market, it is very price driven. So we have to be very competitive on the price. So for some major brands, and we won't just talk about the cleaning side, but for a lot of the brands that we work with, it is better for them to ship a bulk
or a concentrate down here, and if we can prove that we can meet the standards of their manufacturing, we will actually dilute it to what the customer needs and sell it to them at a much lower price.
Right.
So again, it goes back to what I was mentioning earlier. Sometimes for large brands, when you're working in a market in a different country, it's good to work with a company like Rocka where they have the technical team to be able to disperse that product at a much lower cost.
Right, right. That's really interesting. And another thing that you mentioned earlier was the fact that you've got this distribution center now in Texas, and that you're shipping materials to Texas, which is essentially a free trade zone.
Yes.
Before you ship it into here, and that has a good knock-on effect, where the price point's concerned for customers. Can you explain how that works?
Yeah, absolutely. So having a lot of manufacturing, and the goal of Rocka is to bring manufacturing of consumable goods back to North America. And the reason we do it that way is when you're just white labeling ordered products from China or Taiwan or anywhere overseas, it's going to pass through 4, 5, 6 different distributors before it gets to the customer. And each time it passes through a distributor, they're putting their 30, 40% markup on there. So what that means is the customer is going to get a lower quality product at a much higher price point. Now, when you can buy directly from the manufacturer, we can manufacture the product here through Rocka Mexico, bring it into the United States. In the USA, we have Rocka Solutions Inc., which is a USA entity. So now the USA side of the business can order from a USA company, which allows them to save a lot of money. And by doing it that way, they're buying it from the manufacturer. We're passing that savings on to our customer.
Excellent, excellent. Okay. So you mentioned at the beginning of the interview that essentially you do your own manufacturing as well. So let's go through and take a look at how that works.
Yes, that's something we're very proud about because, you know, when you work in the consumable space, one thing I'm learning is you can say it as many times as you want that you're manufacturing your own goods, but if they don't see it, they don't believe it.
You don't believe it.
Let me take you in the back room here. We're very proud of this. So as you were asking about manufacturing in-house, and this is one of our pride and joy. So Rocka Solutions, when we branched into the USA, we recognized that the stencil roll business was top of the list. So by manufacturing in-house, what we can do is we can bring over much larger rolls of paper like this, high quality paper, make the investment into the best quality paper. Now we can plug that into our machine over here, and in the end result, we have our own Rocka branded stencil rolls. And the great thing about these stencil rolls is we can make them in any size with a solid plastic core, no cardboard, so it lasts long, high quality paper, it'll fit any machine. And even at the end, we even stamp it to exactly match the printer that the customer is using.
Right, right. So what makes this such a great stencil roll paper? What is the unique features of it that makes it?
So if you want to come in here and take a look, so the number one problem that people are having with paper is the lint. Right? When paper starts to shred and wear down, that lint gets all over. And even if you have the cleanest, best process, if there's lint in that board,
it puts contamination on there.
All the way to conformal coating, and there's a piece of white lint paper in there. It's also with a lot of the nano coating going on with the stencils, the abrasion of the paper can start to wear on that nano coating.
Right.
So not only is this a paper that is more of a lint-free, what we do is if you have to really get in and look, but there's little pockets that are in this paper. And what that does is when it goes across the stencil, it allows the solder ball to fall into that pocket and it pulls it off of the stencil as opposed to wiping across the stencil.
So the little dimples that are in that paper, if you look at it real close, you'll see it pulls that off, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, great. And you've tested this with some of the biggest manufacturers in the country.
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the biggest brands, we won't name names, but we've even gone as far as testing the shape of the little pocket in the paper, from a diamond shape to a round shape. And we've learned that the round shape, the solder balls are round, actually grabs the solder ball better than more of that diamond cut pattern.
Ah, interesting, interesting. Okay.
So this is a really fun machine. So as we come around, we load the paper in there. It comes through, we dial the process in. Again, even all the way down to the plastic core. And with this machine, we're able to make anywhere from 10 to 15,000 rolls per day.
Per day, wow.
Absolutely.
What are the biggest rolls that you make?
We've seen some of the Panasonic rolls that are massive. And the great thing about being able to manufacture our own rolls is we're finding it more common that customers are not just ordering an off-the-shelf stencil. roll, right? They have very unique sizes and they want something that fits their machine or their process perfectly. So if it's not off the shelf, we can just send them a form. They grab a nice little measuring tape. They can measure everything they need, send that to us, and we can customize and build their roll specifically to them.
So if they're making cell phones, for example, they're probably going to take a shorter rolls maybe. Or if they're doing these big, 5G boards, massive things, then they're maybe going to want much
Exactly
longer rolls.
right.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is we'll assign them a part number, so it makes the reordering process very easy. So we know in this industry there's a lot of turnover with employees. We don't want to have to remeasure a roll every time they order. So we'll assign them a part number specifically to that, and then they can just say, hey, I need PSR 405.
Yeah. Okay, great. So what else do you manufacture here?
Well, let's come on over here. So we are one of the few distributors and manufacturer that works with some of the top brands, and we're able to actually make our own liquid flux. So as you can see over here, this is our liquid flux station. We don't have anything set up right now. It is trade show week, as we know, so we're all hands on deck with the trade show.
Okay.
But we are actually making a lot of our own liquid flux.
And you're making that for Indium Corporation?
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Excellent. So obviously they trust you with their secret sauce to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a lot of NDAs and a lot of training involved to make sure that we protect each other. But that's one of those things, again, where when you can make that product down here, it passes so much savings on to the customer that not only are you providing a better service at a lower cost, you're building a client for life.
Absolutely. It's a really interesting idea, this, because the problem with solder paste and flux is that when it travels, it changes character, and sometimes you have lots of issues with it when you come to actually using it. So making it closer to the point of where it's being consumed is probably not a bad idea.
Well, going back to something you asked me earlier about how we take product that we manufacture here in Guadalajara and take it into the United States.
Yeah.
Well, the exact opposite is also true and beneficial for the companies that we work with, again, the Indiums, the Zestrons, where by having that facility and distribution center in Texas, the USA companies that we distribute for, they don't have to ship to Mexico. So when you talk about flux and solder paste, things have to be, solder paste, for example, has to be distributed or shipped in a cool environment.
Yep.
For them, all they have to do is ship it to Texas.
Right.
We store it in Texas. It's up to Rocka. We bring it across the border. And since we're here in Mexico and we have much larger volume products we're bringing across the border, again, saving money, passing the savings on to the customer.
Yeah, excellent. Great idea. Good. So this is the IPA, is it?
IPA, flux, yep. We have it all.
And you have it all there. So, quite a lot of things. So one of the other areas that you're working in is, you mentioned it earlier, gloves.
Yes.
Seems a little bit sort of left field from everything else you're doing, but I mean, tell me about the story about the gloves.
Well, the Rocka Solutions model is everything you need. So when we walk into a place or someone comes to us, we want to be that one resource for everything. So whether it's gloves, router bits is another thing where we are just dominating the industry. We do all of our router bits that we manufacture come out of Germany with German steel. We are a manufacturer for Global Glove. We also we're a distributor for Global Glove, but we also manufacture a lot of our own gloves. So for our customers, when they go and they're looking for their consumables, gloves, router bits, stencil rolls, most people out of convenience are just buying those online through some sort of digital marketplace, which out of convenience is very nice, but you pay for convenience.
Yes, of course.
Right, so you're paying for that convenience, and that increases the PO. Right now, with the way the economy is going, chances are a lot of our customers aren't going to be making more money. Right, we're all kind of figuring out what's going on. So how do we help them improve their profits? We cut down their cost. And the way Rocka is able to do that, instead of a purchasing manager issuing a $200 PO over here, a $200 PO over here, or spending hours shopping for the lowest price, they can come to a customer or a distributor like Rocka Solutions, and we're able to consolidate that purchasing, not only saving them time, but many times stuff they're already buying directly from the manufacturer, they can get cheaper through us.
Okay, excellent. Well, a very comprehensive tour. I want to thank you certainly for that. And through here, we're back into the admin side of the business. You know, we've got the offices and support staff there manning the phones. So very impressive, Justin.
Yeah, the rest of the office just looks really nice, but this is where the money is made. You know, the people behind the scenes are really making Rocka move forward, and we appreciate all their effort.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for giving us a walk around, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Welcome to Rocka Solutions. When it comes to the manufacturing and distribution of consumable goods, our name stands out above the rest. In a world driven by innovation and absolute precision, working with suppliers you can count on is key. Rocka Solution combines years of experience and expertise to make sure that we are efficient and always able to meet our customer needs. Our dedicated team works nonstop to maintain the highest standard of quality goods. With more than 17 facilities spread across North, Central, and South America, you can guarantee that your product will be on time every time. The vision of Rocka Solution is to bring manufacturing of consumable goods back to North America, and that vision is already coming true. When it comes to manufacturing and distribution in the electronics industry, who do you choose? Rocka Solutions!